Welcome. I'm Dr. Lynette Wiest, and this video is about how and why to let go and forgive. For all of us, there are times that we have difficulty forgiving, and when we know how and why to forgive, we can intentionally employ forgiveness, even in the areas where it's most difficult. Over time, we can see that forgiveness strengthens our minds and our lives. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself. So I'm going to share 9 keys to forgiveness, and then you'll notice that they dovetail in their purposes. And so when you use 2 or more, the others will naturally be available to you also. And if you're new to this channel and you want to see previous and future videos about empowering love, about nature, and about empowering your life's purposes, then subscribe to the channel. So the first key to forgiveness is obvious. You have to have a reason to motivate your forgiveness. And this is because forgiveness requires sustained effort as you move forward and as you let go of emotional triggers and create strong, powerful responses and solutions to problems. So before I get into the other 8 keys of how to forgive, I want to briefly highlight 3 popular reasons to motivate forgiveness. The first reason is that forgiveness, it clears your mind of the mental and emotional quicksands of hyper-focusing on and being emotionally charged by what you don't want, so that you can see beyond the problem and see how to create solutions for goals and relationships that you do want. Forgiveness ends emotional pain's control of you, despite whatever emotions exist. The best solutions require understanding a larger context than that which is created the problem. That context is limited by the problem. So forgiveness, it provides this larger context by clearing away emotional and mental barriers and distractions so that we can have a clear and broad understanding of problems in the larger context that also includes solutions. Especially in difficult or confusing relationships, this clarity is needed in order to create safe mental, emotional, and physical boundaries. And a second reason to forgive is that if you are addicted to unhealthy problems or patterns of thinking and feeling and behaving, then forgiveness will start to unravel the mental patterns that hold your addiction in place. And it will start to unravel the emotional charge that's attached to the triggers. And as your patterns shift from destructive to constructive patterns, you may experience the discomfort of letting go. And that discomfort is okay. It's actually a good sign, and it is the expectable withdrawal and recovery experience. Now, a third reason is that forgiveness frees you from mental and emotional dependency. From the idea that you're dependent on a price being paid before you can be free from mental and emotional attachments to the problem, and free from feeling like you're an emotional hostage or victim of someone else's decisions. Forgiveness can reboot your brain to operate from your own wisdom and from a more loving and expanded paradigm. Now, the second key to forgiveness is about your mental position. Consciously and intentionally choose your mental position rather than letting it be built on an emotional reaction. Now, how you focus your mind, your mental positions, your mental patterns, this determines your ability to forgive and the way you experience your whole life. So how can we choose mental positions that understand a problem accurately and also keep clear of mental confusion and emotional pollution? And how do we balance both the problem and the possibilities in a given moment? Well, Henry David Thoreau said, quote, "The question is not what you look at, but what you see," end quote. In our minds, there are always 2 states of being, the real and the ideal. The real is what we live in at any given moment. Also, in any given moment, our minds are envisioning and working to create the ideal. And as we move towards the ideal, our minds expand the ideal out further. And because we're always in this state of reaching for the ideal, we never seem to create and get to the ideal. What we see as a lack of the ideal in the real is where to let go emotionally. This is forgiveness. Shifting from emotional focus on and reaction to the apparent gap or lack, and shifting and connecting focus to the direction of the ideal. This lessens the emotional pollution so that we can be clear, so that we can be durable and be empowered in the current reality while striving towards the ideal. You can envision the ideal possibility despite the pain in the reality. In order to, by doing this, it motivates and it navigates your way into forgiveness. It's kind of like you're getting to forgiveness through the back door. It's letting go of a dependency on a problem mindset and arriving at the next step towards the ideal, and then creating your next version of the ideal. This is one of the balancing acts in which we live our lives, balancing between the real and the ideal while including both. A religious example is the idea that death is real and heaven is ideal, and forgiveness brings death and heaven together. But what if heaven does not require a physical transition to death, but a mental transition to see more of love's possibilities? Because forgiveness can dissolve any barriers to seeing the power and durability of your love, it can bring the reality of being alive and the ideal of heaven together, otherwise known as heaven on earth. So don't let problems hijack your mind. Be aware of them, but don't give them power over you. You want to look beyond the problem, and you want to see the solutions that are beyond the problem. Realize that your version of reality is a mental mirror of your belief system, creating your context of understanding and your worldview. Your version of the ideal is what you believe is best, and your version of the ideal excludes what you believe is wrong. So the difference between your real and ideal can leave you waiting on the ideal, as if what you see is wrong in the real must disappear before you can move past it towards the ideal. But you can let go of being mentally frozen on what you believe is wrong. Hold it as real while being willing to move past it towards the possibilities in the ideal. And only from an ever-evolving mindset or state of mind can you evolve your reality towards your ideal mental position. So this requires humility. It requires admitting that our current mental position, from within our current mental position, we don't know everything. Each mental position sees reality from a different angle for each of us, a different perspective about the context, and with different information. And as a result, the other positions may appear less valid to you. This comparison or competition, it limits your own evolution and your own ability to forgive. So to get past this, first look beyond the differences and envision the ideal. And then mentally put yourself into the ideal and see your point of view from there. Then from the ideal mindset, look back into the current reality of yourself and let go of whatever of yourself doesn't belong in the ideal. This is the evolving point of view to hold as you create your steps forward. Seeing from your ideal point of view while within the real creates forgiveness. It releases the weight of pain and problems, and it opens you up. It opens all of your pain up to healing and to solutions. Now, the third key is forgiveness. The third key to forgiveness is trust. Trust is required in order to maintain a state of forgiveness. So you look beyond what you see as falling short of the ideal, and you will see both the real and the ideal are operating together in every given moment. Realize that as soon as the ideal becomes real, we expand the ideal. And so this is a constant state of evolving forgiveness. You can see your own evolution as you notice that what you learn at one point in time can mean something deeper to you over time. So this occurs because it's as your real and ideal are evolving together within you over time. When we believe the real and the ideal are not working together, we feel helpless and hopeless, as if we'll never experience what we hope for. So trust and let go of believing the gap between the real and the ideal is hopeless. Evolve only what supports your purpose and your ideal. Don't evolve, don't grow what supports your misery. Now, even though both the real and ideal seem separate, as you hold them together in your mind, they exist together. The ideal wants to be in the real, and the real wants to be in the ideal. Expand the context of your awareness to trust that they are working together in one reality. Because the overall gain of forgiveness may require time, trust closes the gap of time. It releases you from being stuck in pain, and it moves you forward towards the ideal. And in this way, you can have immediate mental and emotional liberation. So when you trust the larger context that includes both reality and ideality, you change yourself. And this changes everything you impact. And in time, the ripple effect of forgiveness in your life becomes immeasurable. Now, the fourth and fifth keys to forgiveness are validation and courage. Validate and have compassion for yourself in your pain, while at the same time being aware of your resilience. This gives you the courage to move forward beyond the pain and into forgiveness. Pain is a message. It's letting you know where to pay attention, where to give yourself compassion, and what to let go of. If you deny your pain, it will be difficult to understand what to address, what to keep, and what to release. And it'll be difficult to know how to take care of yourself in general. Embrace your power to let go of what you thought was in your way. Use courage to respect your emotions while making decisions based on your purposes and your integrity. And don't make decisions that are based on your emotional pain. Don't make decisions that are a reaction to emotional pain. If the pain comes forward with you, this does not mean you haven't forgiven. Forgiveness ends pain's control of you, despite whatever pain exists. Now, courage lets you disentangle your mind and your emotions from being controlled by problems. You can devote your mind to the goals of your heart. To commit your mind to anything else blocks you from the bigger picture of the powerful, durable, and evolving purposes of you. Focusing on what you don't want is painful and it can be destructive. So respond to everything, both good and bad, with the same courage. Now, the sixth and seventh keys to forgiveness are inspiration and integrity. Use these to author your thoughts and create your actions. We must think with integrity in order to understand truth and reality. Without truth, there's nothing to work with. When we choose thoughts that lack integrity, we suppress the motivation, wisdom, and endurance that our survival depends on. We block ourselves from seeing the reality in a situation, the reality of the situation, and we block ourselves from seeing the ideal that we could move towards. Without integrity, we're unable to accurately understand our pain, and so we're vulnerable to the mental and emotional quicksands of blame, greed, fear, prejudice, and disrespect, all of which are self-sabotaging. Your life is created to illuminate love in the world and to bring more experiences of inspiration and love into your own life. And this requires overriding any thoughts that lack integrity. And this is forgiveness. It reboots your brain with the inspiration and the wisdom of that expanded paradigm. Now, some people talk about karma as being the divine system of justice. Karma, it does not show us what to pay for. It shows us where to apply love. That's karma. The opportunity of karma is to detach from illusions of debt and to use only love. This is forgiveness. Use love to interface with the world, and you will know your real and your ideal natures are the same. Each moment offers a perfect opportunity to further your understanding of who you are without judgment, without judging yourself. The laws of love go far beyond the laws of our limited judgment and our limited logic. Human brains do not have omniscient knowledge to accurately understand the cleansing power and purposes of love. However, we can use love to clear the illusion of debt and to experience forgiveness. The 8th key to forgiveness is self-awareness. Self-awareness gives us the clarity to see any thoughts that steal energy from our greatest intentions and goals. Know when you are letting judgment hijack your mind, and hold on to thoughts that create strength, peace, durability, and love, and let go of thoughts that interrupt these. Now, some religions address judgmental thoughts by saying, do not judge because it is a sin. And at the same time saying, whoever is without sin can cast the first stone of judgment. So how do we square these two seemingly contradictory ideas, since it seems to mean that those without sin can start to commit the sin of judging? Well, it may sound like a mixed message, but it's a completely congruent message, because if you don't hold sin in your mind, then you will not judge, even if you're allowed to judge without being judged for doing it. Not holding on to sin in your mind is forgiveness. Be aware of problems, but don't give them the power over your ability to love or over your mind. A mind that is aware of love's greater context of purpose is a mind that is free to create life beyond the emotional limits that problems create. Now, the 9th and final key in this video about forgiveness is responsibility. Take responsibility to let go of emotional thought patterns. When you stop being emotionally controlled, you have the opportunity and responsibility to build thought patterns from love. The territory of your heart is the most important territory in your life, so flood it with love. Where there's emptiness, there's no power. And where there is love, the power of your life is unstoppable. Where there is love, there is forgiveness. Respond to all others and yourself with the power of your love and your forgiveness. Pour love's power into any area of your mind that's empty of love. The opposite of power is to react, but your power is not dependent on being oppositional to anything. Angst brings reactivity and anxiety. Don't depend on anything except love. Let love and forgiveness support your evolution. If you liked this video, please click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video to help it reach out to more people. Videos on this channel are about love's power, about nature, about relationships, and about communication skills, and it is free to subscribe. Welcome, and thank you so much for your time.